listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, starting the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Sessions boasts are better than 80% winners to runners, with average earnings close to $100,000.
Arcadia Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Galaxy Star beats Gadding and Material Man.
Welcome to Racing Rewind, proudly presented by Sessions, who stands the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571.
Red Bruce and home run, but Northerly, Danny Miller, pumping away, and Northerly wins the railway from Old
Yes, get those texts in on 0427 789 571. Get the Sunday Saviours in as well on that number. We're reviewing the big 4X Kalgoorlie Cup meeting from the Goldfields yesterday with Lochie and Michael. Very good morning, boys.
Good morning, Marty and Michael. How are we?
Going well. Good morning, boys. I think we saw the best stayer win the Cup yesterday, made the Boulder Kalgoorlie Cup double, and I think that's the third stakes win for Stafford's lads since joining Team Morton, and the fourth win overall. So haven't they done just a remarkable job with a horse that was a veteran, essentially, when he joined their care, and he's just gone to several new levels.
Marty, I was listening to you and Riley on Unhinged yesterday morning, I think I was listening, and you spoke about the history of the Cal Cup and the fact that as top weights, that was against Stafford's lad. Was that almost or close to a weight carrying record in a Cal Cup, 59 kilos?
Equal with Cougar Express a couple of years ago, yeah.
So they carried 59 and then it went back to Paragon of Virtue, I think, like way back in the 80s. So it's not easy to do. And the way he did it, first off, what a brilliant ride from Donga.
Absolutely.
Seized the moment when the pace went out of the race. But the horse, Lochie, there was a vision of the horse coming back after the win. And he looks to be a genuine horse, doesn't he?
He's
a really good-looking horse.
He's tough, he's honest, and I think between Dan and Luke Morton, you have to remember that Luke essentially was training this horse for the first 6 months of his career because he was on the dirt up in Broome, and since then he's come back onto the grass, and he was well in the market in a Perth Cup last year. Things didn't really go his way, but still ran well. Cal Cup winner now, and I suspect he heads towards another tilt at the Perth Cup now.
Well, he was a 92 rater going into yesterday, so he's certainly, he raced in the Perth Cup last year as a 90 rater, so it's quite remarkable. He's only gone up 2 points, but he did drop a few towards the end of his last campaign, and he's now probably back up to that mid-90s range, but an 8-year-old racing in career best form, it's great to see.
Well, that's the beauty of stayers, isn't it, really? How did the track play? To my eye, looked like you needed to be up there?
Yeah, that's with the rail and the true at Kalgoorlie, it's usually the way it works, and sometimes it evens out later in the day, but we saw horses even later in the day like Double Jeopardy and Solar Eyes Cross. They went around at any old odds, around 30 to 1, and gave huge kicks and were just beaten narrowly in the final strides. Early in the day, I think the first 2 or 3 leaders won. It was certainly a rail hot day, which I think most analysts expected it to be going into the meeting.
We'll follow horses at the end of the program, but I think it's a tricky meeting to assess given the fact that a lot of these horses have had 5 to 10 runs this campaign, and this is towards the end of their preparation. But I think if you are willing to follow something out of yesterday's meeting, a lot of horses that you want to be trying to forgiving is the horses that were back in the field and just struggled to make up that ground.
Yep. Donga O'Donnell will be a special guest on the program about 8:45 when we assess the Cup. But just quickly, no apologies. Had a terrific round.
Oh, absolutely. It was a really good run again yesterday. Beaten narrowly in the Boulder Cup after winning the Kalgoorlie Cup, and great run in the Blue Spec. I think it was prior to that as well from memory. So. SJ Miller's done a wonderful job for him, and a pretty quick return for the new connections as well, that of course sold prior to the Boulder Cup last start.
Absolutely, and I think it gives S and the new connections some options now.
Will they keep the horse though moving forward? Probably not next preparation, you wouldn't think.
Perhaps not. Perhaps he'll go into Lucy's name for the next campaign, but it opens plenty of doors now that he's ticked that 2100 and 2200 metre box. I didn't really think he had that staying capabilities, but the last two runs would definitely suggest otherwise.
Well, native chimes have given Darren Pateman and the team a nice thrill on straightening there. Look, the winner at one stage.
Massive run.
Yeah, certainly was. One here from the text line. Who's this from? I can't tell you. Stafford's Lads owners made the cardinal sin of wearing matching hats. Unforgivable. I missed that, honestly.
I missed that as well. Can't be that bad if the horse still won.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's not a mock. And winner of race one related to Mad Dasser. Lindsay Smith would won like him as well. Well, we're about to talk about race number one, and that was the CD Dodd Maiden. It was over the 1,200 metres.
The rail, and then Starshien last of all is better in kit. They're about to turn here at the 350. Storm Lord, 3/4 Hidden Ruby. They've kicked two in front now. Filthy Habits, followed by Pilbara Song. Playhouse Patron has got work to do. Hidden Ruby laying down the gauntlet at the 200 to the leader Storm Lord, but Storm Lord is kicking. It's Storm Lord. It's got the better of Hidden Ruby. Filthy Habits down the outside is Starshien, but Storm Lord will be far too good. Storm Lord won it. Storm Lord first from Starshien and Filthy Habits. Behind them, Hidden Ruby, Playhouse.
Well, there it is. Ryan Hill having a good run with his horses at the moment. Storm Lord and Victoria Corver beat Starshien, Filthy Habits and Hidden Ruby.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. Was that Victoria Corver's only ride for the day?
Yes, was a late booking. Ryan was initially going to Northam, I think, but elected to go
well worth the trip
this way, and thought it was an interesting choice at the time, but the three scratchings certainly helped, and a bit of the speed came out as well through Made My Way, who of course won on Hannah's Day on Thursday. So it was a gun ride though. He was able to cross the field, and from there they didn't see Storm Lord, ended up winning really well, a length and a half. I went through my mind here, I wonder if it's going to be a leader's day, just how well the horse railed and kicked away, but it was still a really good win. I was always showed a level of ability. Starshien back to 1,200 metres was probably not going to suit. Out of Marchien, the former Perth Cup runner-up and stakes winning mare, Starshien I think will be a much better horse over further, especially the way the track was playing yesterday. A really good effort to hit the line so well, and you'd expect her to be breaking her maiden status fairly soon.
Without doubt, she'll be one of my follows out of the meeting when you consider the pattern of the day, as well as the fact that you've mentioned that she'll only improve over further with her breeding. I thought that was a terrific run. Filthy Habits, I thought was okay.
Missed the kick.
It was
at the start there, and
bounded, or an awkward start. I still thought had every possible chance, and the winner was just far too good on speed. Very hard to beat from there.
Clint rode this race, but then I think fell ill or wasn't feeling well, and is off the
food poisoning.
Food poisoning, yes, was off the remainder of his rides, and I think he might be off his rides today at Northam as well. Hopefully everything's okay there, but I think Filthy Habits is a nice enough horse. Hidden Ruby settled outside of the leader and battled on fairly for fourth, and I thought Playhouse Patron was really disappointing. Started the $2.70 favourite, coming out of those really hot races as a 2-year-old, where he showed more than enough ability to be winning races, let alone a maiden like this race. So didn't appear to have any major excuses. Had a nice run midfield. Horses in the more like Starshien was settled a lot further behind him and went straight past him, beat him home by 3 lengths. So not too sure what to make of that return.
It was just off the bridle the whole way. Joey was really at him as soon as the gates opened. I note that the blinkers came off for yesterday's run. Wouldn't surprise me if they go straight back on for next start.
Race number 2, the Rexall Handicap over the 1,760 metres.
Starting to quickly zip around them in front of Henchard. Magic Will Reign. So Schmidt came off the bridle at the 400 mark, being desperately ridden. And back there last of all, McFly. Heads a turn now, 350 to go. Yule shakes up the leader, Feuding, and Feuding breaks clear. Feuding now by 2 lengths. Deal Red. Magic Will Reign down the outside, runs on. And also, right there as well is Pretty Fry with 150 to go, but they have to still get to Feuding. Feuding's the leader. Magic Will Reign's the danger. It's Feuding. Feuding from Magic Will Reign and Feuding. Feuding led all the way. Beat Magic Will Reign. Pretty Fryer dropped off late.
Well, there you go, Feuding all the way. Kira Yule riding for Nick Carapalotti. Beats Magic Will Reign, Pretty Fryer and Deal Red back and forth.
This horse has been absolutely flying since going up to the Goldfields. Just been a model of consistency. Has been doing it at both ends of his races. There's been a couple of occasions where he's been back and flown home. But yesterday afternoon, 1760 the trip. Kira Yule bounced him straight to the top, and from there, travelled well, shook clear of Deal Red at the top of the straight, and then the chasing brigade were far too back in running in Magic Will Reign and Pretty Fryer, so Feuding logically, got the job done.
Isn't Nick Carapalotti a promising young trainer? He just does a really, really good job. He's had 16 starters so far this season for 4 winners, so going at 25%. And just looking through his Kalgoorlie season, this preparation, he's won with Saturday Sinner, Magic of Zeus, There's a Chance, Ruling Dame, Feuding, and Evelina. So all individual winners, not just the one horse winning the races throughout the season. So he does a super job, Nick Carapalotti. Magic Will Rain loves the Kalgoorlie 1760, a bit of a track distance specialist there. Bobbed up at big odds the start before, hit the line really strongly there yesterday. Pretty Fryer had some supporters there yesterday, had a pretty nice run in transit, made some late ground. Thought the disappointing horse out of the race was Henchard, who just never settled, never looked comfortable. Brad Rawilla was in all sorts of bother there. He had his head just pulling through the bridle there for the racing really erratically, and he ended up dropping out to be beaten just over 6 lengths, and no abnormalities from the vet exam, but didn't appear to be a happy horse.
No, not at all. I note that he over-raced last start over 1,400 metres, and I actually remember post-race Adam Durant was sceptical as to whether he'd stretch him out beyond a mile this campaign, and I think perhaps yesterday afternoon it was just a product of him being too fresh. Perhaps he's not a 1760 or further type of horse. He might just need a more genuine tempo, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Henchard back to a mile, and hopefully with a little bit more speed engaged in the race, he can return to form. Yeah,
because it was a really good win over 1,400 metres the start prior, and you look to his last campaign, he was a first up winner over 14, ran third in the Lex Piper, beaten less than a length to Tricks of the Trade. Then he went to 1,800, ran third, beaten a length and a half to Rockanori and Tricks of the Trade. So then he ended up going to a Mel Vista and a Derby where he ran 9th and 10th, so perhaps he's not a staying type, but still expected a better performance over that type of distance there yesterday. Not a huge amount else to report from the race, just feuding. Kira rated the horse really well in front, and Magic Will Rain was probably the run of the race on the day, which suited those on pace.
Race 3 was the Kalgoorlie Paint Centre Handicap over the 1,600.
Yet to go, though. And then Mexicola, Sensational is last. 400 left to run. They come to the home turn. Bow Count gone, headed by Gluten Free. Megazone sets after it. Behind them, Shoot Your Shot, all in red, trying to push clear. Gluten Free, it led coming to the 250. Megazone, though, dashes up quickly and puts pay to it. Megazone goes to the front inside the 200. They're clear. Mexicola, Sensational running on from the back. All in red, battling away. Megazone's in front. Gluten Free trying to rally. Megazone kept going, however, by McGruddy, and Megazone beat home Gluten Free. Mexicola might have got the dive for third, just in front of All in Red.
Yeah, Ash Maley, horses and stable going really well. Sean McGruddy gave it a peach. Megazone too good for Gluten Free. Mexicola All in Red fighting out 3rd and 4th.
Another horse settling on the rail. Megazone settled just in behind a Genuine Speed set by Bow Count and Gluten Free. Sean McGruddy from there just never really looked like getting beat. Travelled into the race really, really well, and then once he balanced up, he let him go, and I thought he showed a good turn of foot. I think this is his grade. He's been at this grade for probably 2 or 3 seasons now, but well-placed and well-ridden, was able to get the job done, and it must be noted that this obviously wasn't a strong 66-plus by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's a great initiative to be racing for 80,000 given the calibre of this field, but Megazone has always been honest and had his fair share of ability, but it was good to see him back in the winner's circle.
Yeah, it had been over 1,000 days, and this race was, of course, scaled down from a 66 plus to a 59 plus, so really good stake money there. As you mentioned, $80,000, but it's been a while since he had broken through, but he's a pretty talented horse on his days. He's won 5 races now and earned over $250,000, so he's been a good horse. Gluten Free, battled on well outside of a hot speed, and Mexicola, doesn't he have an extravagant action? Mexicola, when he lets down, is a little bit all over the place, but he hit the line really well on a day which didn't suit those back in the field. All in Red, the rider actually caught his foot on the barrier petition when leaving the gates, but didn't appear to really affect the run. Had a nice run in transit, battled on okay for 4th, but good to see Megazone break through. And Mexicola did race in some cup races last season. Just
Yes,
gives the impression that he raced in the Kalgoorlie and Boulder Cups as well last year as well. So just off that run yesterday, you'd think he'd be better suited upping trip, but I'm not too sure if there's those staying races the last two meetings at Kalgoorlie. But if there is, he could be a horse that should prove pretty hard to beat. He
was relatively well fancied, Mexicola, in what was an even market. In the end, I think beaten just over a length and a half on a day where I think for the most part was very difficult to make up ground, and Megazone was just in behind the speed. I thought that was a really good run from Mexicola, and perhaps, on a fairer track he goes a little bit closer, so I wouldn't be dropping off him.
It was a good drink, Mexicola. Race number 4 and Coastal Midwest Transport Handicap was over the 2,200 metres.
On its back is Bailey's, followed further back, it's a Lance. There's a chance getting caught up in traffic. And last City Star, Kenny the King will straighten for home. He's been there in front from the get-go. At the 300, Kenny the King. McGruddy, they look supremely confident. Arnie's Boy, and here's Bailey's. Bailey's lets down, and City Star from the back of the field running on. Bailey's 200 to go. Draws a length and a half to Arnie's Boy. City Star runs on, but it's Bailey's. Bailey's has pinched a break, and Bailey's will win it. Bailey's from City Star. Grand effort on the back up from Thursday.
There it is, Bailey's. Gary Bowen beating City Star, Arnie's Boy. You heard Tash Faithful earlier on today explain the ride, and she had Sean McGruddy in her sights and wasn't letting it go.
Yeah, I thought it was a great interview, and the way that Tash was able to depict what was going through her mind at the time. Yep. And she knew that Arnie's Boy was the favourite, and she knew that Sean McGruddy is a jockey that you like following in a race. So she was back last, but as soon as Sean put his horse into the race, she was quickly on his back, and I thought this was just about ride of the day for mine. I thought this was a terrific ride, and Tash is riding extremely well at the moment. Bailey's, it wasn't a result that I particularly expected, but has been thereabouts in recent times, and was good to see him get the job done yesterday.
Yeah, Ride certainly won that race yesterday. Kalgoorlie's such a different track in that, it's a real momentum type of track. You need to be swooping around that home bend, and the horses usually, if you're not leading and kicking clear, the horses swooping around the bend, middle part of the track is where the winners come. The short straight means you can't really afford to get held up, and it was well summed up by Tash there yesterday. She's had a really good week after winning the Heaton's Handicap on Thursday, of course. City Star was backing up off a 2-day turnaround from the Heaton's Day on Thursday, when breaking about a 4.5-year drought, and really good effort there yesterday off the 2 days to be making the most ground in the race to run second. Arnie's Boy, I had a big query on him at 2,200 metres going into yesterday's race, and he just travels so strongly. He was trucking in the run. Sean had no real option but to get going when he did. I'm sure he would have loved to have been a bit more patient, but Arnie's Boy took off, hit the front a bit too soon, and battled an okay for third, but I think he's a better horse at a mile. And
more genuine tempo, as you said. He just went far too hard.
Yeah, and I've heard Ash say in a lot of interviews as well that he's a horse that just can't get there too soon because he does wait for them. So back to a mile, more genuine tempo, getting them late is Arnie's Boy's go. Kenny the King was beaten 5.5 lengths into fourth, suited by the pattern of the day. So the rest of the field found it difficult. There's a chance. I thought it was a query stepping up to 2,200 metres, was too keen in the run, beaten 17 lengths, and Decoy Noxious beaten out of sight as well.
There's a chance. Nick Carapalotti reported post-race that he will now be off to the paddock, and interesting to note, Brittany just messaged me and said that Nick Carapalotti actually said in an interview post-race after the win of Feuding that he is going to training full-time. He's willing to quit his job and commit to training down at Bunbury.
Bunbury.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh, so leaving the Kalgoorlie. But when's Bunbury ready next year?
Yep.
Wow. There you go. I think a couple of trainers are thinking of doing that.
Yeah, okay. Race number 5, the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap over the 1,300 metres.
A lot. Halatorian's onto its back and towards the tail end of the field. Fair Justice, the favourite now last of all. Prize Pursuit. Now you have to levitate over the top of them if he's going to win from there. Awkwardly placed Sneaky Fox led. He's persevering with a rails run. Love Drunk Baby is second. Now he gets around heels on Prize Pursuit. All is not lost. Prize Pursuit's coming. So's Fair Justice. On the outside, Fair Justice. Prize Pursuit went to Sneaky Fox. The fave hits the lead though. Oh, he got there eventually. Prize Pursuit Pursuit gave back as a heart attack in running. Still got there though. Prize Pursuit won from Fair Justice, Love Drunk Baby or Sneaky Fox, and then Helatorian.
Okay, Michael, your man Bradwell Willer picked up the late ride on Prize Pursuit after CJP went down with food poisoning and gets it up. Short price favourite, good thing of the day.
Yeah, it looked that way on paper. A couple of nervous moments. Macca was certainly nervous in the call there, and I could see where he was coming from. As I mentioned in the previous race, Kalgoorlie is not usually the sort of track you can afford to get held up on, and Drew Barrier 2 was always going to be three back the fence, and when that field was fanning around him, it looked like it could be a hard luck story, but Brad was super patient, waited for the runs to come, extricated off the fence, and was a good ride in the end, and a really good win from and a nice tonic as well, somewhat for Jason and Sarah Miller, who are doing it tough at the moment after the really tragic loss of Sarah's dad last weekend. So hopefully this gave them, I'm sure, only a temporary, but somewhat of a boost for what they're going through a really hard time at the moment. He had the form on the board, though, Prize Pursuit, and he's won 3 of his last 5, I think it is now, and he's a horse that can come to town and probably go on with it.
Really well said, Michael. Absolutely. I think he's always touted Saturday ability, and now he's just putting it all together. Perhaps the confidence of these wins can make sure that when we're back at Ascot in this type of West Speed grade, perhaps even a graduation next start, that he can still be very competitive. The way that the race was run, I thought, oh no, Brad Willie, you're in a world of hurt here. But just as they straightened, they seemed to fan a little bit, and Brad just followed them through really nicely. And I thought this was a great win. Fair Justice, I thought this was a terrific run against the pattern of the day, was back last in running essentially, or near on, and I thought that was a terrific effort to run as close as he did, and Love Drunk Baby was honest once again.
A couple of horses I probably wouldn't mind following out of this race. Prize Pursuit, we know, has good abilities. Fair Justice was racing off about 40 days going into yesterday's run, freshened up, as you said, hit the line against the pattern, and this horse won a couple of races at Esperance last season as well, so heading towards Esperance next month, I think Fair Justice is a horse we can be following. And Helatorian's been well publicised. This horse just does not go on wet tracks. He's been plagued by bog tracks all winter, and on paper his form's pretty ordinary. He ran an absolute blinder on a good 4 first up back in July. Since then he's hit soft 7s and soft 6s and hasn't gone a yard. But yesterday, back on top of the ground, he was making really good late ground. 33.98 his last 600. I think getting back to Ascot, and he's actually only won 2 races. So I
was about to say that, even if he gets into Northam,
if he goes in a Class 3 Ascot, Class 3 Northam, I think he'll be each way odds, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him be winning a race sometime soon.
I certainly agree.
You are listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, standing the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Breeders of demerit consider Sessions, who is also a son of the highly successful Longo.
Found itself 5 and 6 deep. Dark Assault tucked up on the inside. Agassi is next, looking for the way clear. Behind them, the favourite Excellent Dreamer, and they're followed by Vital Blast. Double Jeopardy at the head of the others now. They come past the 200 over on the inside. Yeah, Darty has been gathered up. Turbo Power reaches the lead. Excellent Dream trying hard, and down the outside, Double Spice with his run. Turbo Power's the leader. Excellent Dream and Double Spice, they try hard, but Turbo Power kicks and wins. Turbo Power has won from Double Spice or Excellent Dream. And then deeper out, charging home from...
Yeah, well done, Trevor Tasker. Turbo Power beats Double Spice. Excellent Dream on the backup from Thursday. I thought this was a good effort to run third. Jericho Missile fourth.
Another horse on speed with the light weight with Keshaw's claim. 52 kilos. Turbo Power was just able to tough it out late. He formerly from the Neville Parnham stable. It's been a good little acquisition for Trevor Tasker in the Goldfields region. I think there was a 72 plus, and I thought that a horse like Excellent Dream and Jericho Missile were unlucky in the sense that Excellent Dream didn't have a great run throughout, and then Jericho Missile got a long way back against the pattern. So in that sense, I don't think it was the strongest race, but Turbo Power on speed, he's always been a tough, honest old horse, and I'm sure that was a great result for Trevor and all those concerned.
Did he have cover at any stage in the run?
That's what I had to watch a few times.
I thought he was 3 deep, no cover for sure. But
nothing in the stewards report. I was trying to work that out this morning when I was watching the replays. But if he was, just credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. I think Mac made mention of it in running as well, that Turbo Power was out 3 wide. But yeah, really good run. We saw the pattern almost changed the second half of the day. Turbo Power 3 deep. We saw the horse of Peter Fernie's that won the Ron Sayers Sprint in the next race be 3 deep. And I think in the last race there were a couple of horses 3 deep.
So he was definitely 3 deep.
That's on well as well, yeah, but no mention of it in the Stewards report. Double Spice hit the line really well, but as you mentioned, Excellent Dream got back into a really awkward position from barrier 3. Thought the horse would have been really prominent in the run, if probably maybe not leading, but at least tucked in just behind. But was a bit stiff there yesterday off the 2-day turnaround. Big money for the horse, as you'd expect, backing up off 2 days, and narrowly missed. Jericho Missile, super run. I think we can be following Jericho Missile getting back to Ascot. Ran some really nice races in stronger company the past month. And yeah, Darty, probably a shade disappointing. Found the front, folded up noticeably late, beaten 2.5 lengths, 5th, but Turbo Power 3 deep. Went straight past it, obviously. So yeah, Darty probably a shade below expectations, but I think Jericho Missile, a horse to follow, and Excellent Dream, obviously going really well, but likely to start a lot shorter in the markets.
I would have to agree in regards to, Darty, when you consider he's come out of the Idyllic Prince and the Farnley and wasn't disgraced. He finds the front on what we believe to be an on-speed day at Kalgoorlie, and as you said, Turbo Power was 3 deep the trip and went straight past him, so not sure what the wash-up is with Darty, but obviously he's an older horse now. He's been on his mark and at a tricky spot in regards to his rating for quite some time now, and he's clearly a hard horse to follow too.
And the next race we'll see with 3 deep, no cover this winner, and the next race for Peter Fernie Can't Be Done, winning the inaugural Ronnie Sayers Sprint, 3 wide, no cover as well.
Yeah, now, one here from the text line. Please explain why the Broom form has stood up so successfully. That is Mark from Vic Park.
Well, the Broom horses probably rock hard fit after being racing up there on the dirt at their tempos the whole season coming down, but it hasn't been the worst form historically. I remember Gloryland ran a really big race at the Cal Cup after winning the Broom Cup a couple of years ago, and I think you were saying, Marty, that Sean has won a Hannon's.
Sean Casey, I can't remember the horse's name. Was it something like Shantae's Path? Or you're a Sean Casey man. Surely Jimmy or Sean will text you, but he did it. He brought it back from Broome and won the Hannon's.
I know a horse like Dance Cocky raced last week at Belmont and ran third, ran a super race, and
has run a couple of placings.
Like you look at the horse and you can tell that they haven't been subject to the harsh winter that we've had over the last few months. They just look completely different to any other horse. Sun on their back, healthy horses. Yeah. I think that it's an underrated thing in a horse where they've just been up at that nicer weather for such a long period of time, and all their competitors haven't. And subsequently, they race really well.
You see it on the East Coast, and pretty big owner over here has just experienced it firsthand, where he had a horse go up to Brisbane through the winter.
They're massive on it, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. And then was able to spell up there instead of spelling down in the southern parts of the east coast of WA. And he said the way the horses come back from spelling up in Brisbane, he's going to do it with all of his horses on the East Coast going forward now. It just gives them a huge advantage. And way back in the old days here, they used to send horses to Kalgoorlie for the round and not even race them there. But it'd just get out of Perth, get up to Kalgoorlie for a week in that lovely spring sunshine.
That sounds like a bit of an excuse, I reckon, for the trainers to get down to Kalgoorlie.
They'd take plenty of horses that were racing, but they'd take, particularly their younger horses, their two-year-olds and 3-year-olds, they take up there to Kalgoorlie and just spell keep them working, but different area, that different water and the clay and the ground, and they just jump out of the ground and be ready to run early.
Who was the first trainer on the East Coast to either spell horses in Queensland or after the Winter Carnival keep them there?
Tommy was onto it a long time ago.
Yeah.
TJ Smith, I think he set the prototype for doing that.
Because you listen to any type of radio, whether it be on this station or an RSN over east, this time of year, just about every trainer says that the horse is spelled incredibly well after being in the Queensland Carnival, and they just left it there.
Yeah. Okay, 20 minutes away from 9 o'clock. We've got a couple of the big races, and this was the inaugural running of the Ron Sayers Sprint over 1,100 metres, $125,000 up for grabs.
Protected action. They've gone toe-to-toe on the point of the home corner. It's protected action, double jeopardy together. A length away, Can't Be Done. Harmika back on the fence. Choice bid behind those into the clear. Pixie Chicks, he is dreaming head of the others at the 175, and Can't Be Done hit the front from double jeopardy. Can't Be Done, double jeopardy fights That's Pixie Chicks is rattling on the outside. Double Jeopardy coming back. They'll hit the line. Wow, not sure. Very tight go. Can't be done. Double Jeopardy came back. Photo result. Flying false statement. And Pixie Chicks.
Well, it was the sort of finish that you wanted for a Ronsay sprint, I'm sure. And Andrew Eagles, who now appears to be putting a fair bit of money back into the game again. Leviathan owner in the Goldfields for many years, winning with Can't Be Done. Beats Pixie Chicks and Double Jeopardy with false statement. 4 runners hitting the line together.
Did you happen to see Andrew's jacket yesterday?
Oh, I'd imagine it'd be a beauty.
Yeah, I took a screenshot just in case you missed it.
Oh, yes. Have a look at him.
Yeah, a bit of look at me time.
Fashionista.
Look at me. $21 winner. $125,000 race.
I've got to say to Riley Morgan, this capped off a good day for him. He wins the Subiaco Reserves medal, and he threw this out on Unhinged.
And I think it was a really big drifter. 20-1 started. I recall this horse being single figures at some stage throughout Friday or maybe even yesterday morning.
Opened up $3 or $3.30 or something along those lines.
How about that? Well,
Sorry?
Yeah, opened up. I don't have it in front of me. But if you look up the Tab Touch desktop website, you'd be able to see the flux. But I'm pretty sure it opened up $3 to $4.
That has got to be one of the biggest drifts I've ever seen.
I think Pete made reference to it in his post-race interview yesterday as well, that he thought the horse would be winning and was filthy when it opened up so short. So
hopefully he wasn't too busy and had something on.
Yeah.
What about the race? Look at this race.
Great race to
first
watch.
10 across, well, let's go first 9 across the line, 2.37 lengths separated them.
Yep. And Can't Be Done was 3 wide, no cover throughout.
Yep.
Double Jeopardy drew 14 out of 14, crossed them, led a good clip and was beaten ahead. I thought that was a super run by Double Jeopardy. The faster the better for that horse. Pixie Chicks was midfield, came launching late and just missed. We had false statement was some sort of effort, ran home in 32.81. I think that's the fastest last 600 of perhaps of the round so far that I've seen. And Cura Star was some sort of effort, 62.5 kilos, was doing his best work through the line, came from nowhere, 32.86 last 600. Cura Star before this race was a 72 plus winner. Lumped the big 62.5 yesterday, so I think getting back to Ascot, he can be a follow, getting back into a 72 plus with some weight relief. But to Can't Be Done's credit, was off the track the entire pretty much. I think Lucy said in her interview afterwards that she had cover for about the first 2 strides, and after that she was in no man's land. But to this horse's credit, was able to get the job done at his WA debut, coming out of as an online purchase, and I think Pete told Andrew not to buy it, and he did, and wins a $125,000 race first up.
Who's had the last laugh there?
So no, wonderful race and a fitting result as well, I think, for the inaugural Ronsay Sprint. Wonderful initiative by, I assume, the Kalgoorlie Race Club and whoever was involved. No one more deserving there to have a race named after them in Kalgoorlie. Outside of the first 5 across the line, though, Choice Bid was a long way up in class, battled on well to be beaten only a length and a half, but I think there were a few hard luck stories everywhere. You could see horses darting late, being held up, but just a great race to watch.
Absolutely. It was always going to be one of those races, capacity, 14-horse field. There's chaos everywhere, essentially. There was plenty happening. I thought a horse like Carmika, I think that's a mare that we should touch upon. Not sure where she's at the moment, because box seated, I thought had every possible chance if she was good enough, and just didn't really seem to stretch out in the final stages, so I'm not sure where she's at.
Yes, okay, so that was the Ron Sayers Sprint. Let's now go back and relive the big one of the day, the 4X Kalgoorlie Cup.
Rostropovich. Sluice boxes after going to come around them via the Cape. Under the stick, General Grant dropping out Ombudsman. At the top of the home straight, Native Chimes is just in front. Stafford's Lad. Warwick's about to make a move with no apology, but Stafford's Lad hit the front. 250 left to go. Stafford's Lad the leader. Native Chimes battling back down the outside. No apology. Under the big weight, Stafford's Lad. The only mare. Native Chimes keeps coming from No Apology. Stafford's Lad digs in. Stafford's Lad won the Cup. Stafford's Lad has won it. Outstanding win. Has scored from either No Apology or Native Chimes.
Yeah, it was an outstanding win and an outstanding ride by Sean O'Donnell. He joins us this morning on Racing Rewind. Good morning, Dogger.
Yeah, good morning, boys. How are we all?
We're going well. First off, congratulations. That was a sensational ride yesterday to win the Cup.
Yeah, thank you. I pulled that one out of the hat, and To credit to the big boy that I rode, he pulled it off for us both. It was a fantastic win.
Well done, Donga. When did you pick up the ride? Obviously, Chris was suspended last weekend. Did it all happen pretty quickly?
I think it was. I was driving the Northern last week, and Danny Morton obviously rang me and said Chris is going to start his time after the Hannons, and then they need the rider. I was actually booked on Bad Wolf in the race because, I didn't have any other rides. But thanks to Ashley Maley, I rang him and he allowed me to get off to ride Danny Morton's horse. So that was very nice of him for that, and the result is history. Going
into the race, obviously, had some negative weight swings against him, going up to 59 kilos, but drew barrier 10. He's a natural get-back type of horse. What was your plan going in? Yeah,
no set plan. Just Dan said, just try and be in front of a couple, obviously going out of the straight the first time. And if the pace slackens, don't make it into a sprint race. Just get on your bike and get going. And down the backside there, I was still 3 deep and they were crawling, so I thought, I don't think he's ever raced outside the leader before, but we're going to try it. And took the initiative, and, as we know, it paid off.
Morning, Sean. Well done on yesterday's win again. As a jockey, what goes through your mind as you pass the winning post for the first time? And I think it was Ombudsman to your inside clearly wasn't giving you the room that you needed to get one off and get the cover that you, I suspect, wanted. What goes through the mind there? Is it a sense of nervousness knowing that you're on one of the leading chances in the Cal Cup and you haven't got the luck that you needed in the early stages?
Oh, absolutely, Lochie. And, and at that point of the race, obviously that horse, he was a real outsider, even though he'd won the Broome Cup. But there was room for that horse to go to the fence, but I couldn't push it to the fence, and Simone didn't want to go to the fence, so that's fine. And at that stage, I thought, I'm 3 deep, no cover. Most probably the only horse 3 deep, no cover. At the top weight, it's not ideal. And I kind of glanced up to the front and I seen the leader obviously on the fence, the second horse, Bella's Idol, on the fence. I thought, if I quickly duck around and get outside and speed one off, I didn't care I had no cover, at least I can put him back to sleep and wake him up. Got to the corner and I was able to execute that plan perfectly, as we all know.
And it was nearly a really big week in the Goldfields for you. It must have been nice to get this one home after Titan Blinders was super in the Haddon's handicap, only beaten a nose and probably a bit stiff as well.
Yeah, fantastic run. They've done a great job with this horse from over east. I really like him. He's an honest, big type. Like you said, all credit to the Pierce boys and Tash Faith. I was so happy for her to win her first listed race. But I did need a little bit of luck to run about, I reckon, 50 metres before I win the race. But that's racing. You can't be greedy. And look what happened for me yesterday. And unfortunately, good mate of ours, Chris Parham, he couldn't be there yesterday. He's suspended. But, to his credit, the young guy, he sent me a message and said he was riding at home with me. So, it shows the class of that kid.
Yep, sure does. So
absolutely. Just
back to Titan Blinders and haven't seen the head-on. You were momentarily held up?
Yeah, I was behind Tash and I just come half out behind her trying to get a run, and then I switched back to the inside when it opened up. It just needed about 2 more strides, I think, to the post. We'd either been the dead heat or we won. So it was just a bit unlucky, but great effort by the big horse to try and pick himself up and get through that gap.
Can't recall you being in better form, Donga, at the moment. You must be in a really good place.
Oh, mate, the last 7 years of my life has been a life-changing since I met my new partner, Sarah. And, she's my wife. We just click and she just makes my life and world a happy place. And you know what it's like. If you're happy and you love your job and you're fit and healthy with good family behind you, you just go out there and do your best. But you need the support of the trainers and owners around you with the good horses too. But, I don't know what it is. I'm 52 this year and I'm just going as strong as I can. I'm really happy.
I think the good form can continue. I suspect All Show heads to opening day over the 3-year-old 1,000. Have you heard from Trevor or sat on her since that dominant last start win?
I've heard from Trevor and Joanne Andrew. She rides all her work. She's pulled up well, apparently. I am looking forward to riding her next Saturday. I think Sneaky Chance and ATM will all be in as well. So there's some nice rides from Trevor Andrews' camp, which supported me very strongly at the moment, and I'm very grateful for that. But, yeah, looks like it's going to be a fun carnival this year. We've got some nice horses in WA coming up, as we all know.
Before we let you go, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rides at Northam today. Who's the best of the half dozen?
Oh, hard pick. I think that Cherry, I think, is late scratching, unfortunately. I think Graham Valentine's other horse I got...
Run to Fair Run?
Yeah, that's the one. It likes Northam. Look, got a lot of weight, but that could be my best ride. But I've got 5 chances, so I'll do my best.
Dong, you're doing your best and you're making everyone happy. Continue your great work in the saddle, and well done on your second Kalgoorlie Cup.
Yeah, thanks, boys, and well done on the show. It's a great show, and thanks for letting me come on. It's been a privilege.
Anytime you
We'll give you that 50 after. Cheers, mate.
See you, boys.
He's a ripper, Sean O'Donnell. Great form. Let's talk about the Cup.
I need to get him back on.
Oh, yeah, it's very good.
No, well, great ride, similar to, in a way, to Natasha Faithful's ride over on Bailey's earlier in the day, but just sums it up really well. Just made that mid-race move. If he was back there on probably only a modest tempo and no cover, 59 kilos, he probably doesn't win the race if he doesn't make that move.
You look at the results, first 3 around the corner, first 3 across the line.
And they absolutely gapped the rest of the field. It was 6 lengths back to the 4th placed horse there in Bad Wolf, who settled 4th. So it was a very, very difficult race to make up ground. With that in mind, I thought Brother Paddy was a really good run, hitting the line strongly. Tell Him We're Coming, I thought was disappointing, but post-race had vet's excuses, revealed lameness, superficial abrasions to both hind bumpers, so that would certainly stop a horse. So perhaps his effort wasn't as poor as what initially thought post-race. Sluice Box was just in, a seemingly impossible position the way the race was run. Was always going to be back there, beaten 8.5 lengths, but we know he's much better than that. And General Grant, interesting one. Drew barrier 12 of 12. Did look a really sticky map for him. Brad Parnham elected to go back to last. And I think most riders would have been expecting probably a bit more of a genuine tempo as well, but that was not to be. And Stafford's Lad, the best stayer in the race, probably the best horse in the race, and a well-deserved Boulder Kalgoorlie Cup double.
Absolutely. General Grant, as you said, was the favourite in yesterday's Cal Cup. I didn't think the run was horrible. I think from back there was just simply impossible to make any ground and have any type of impression on the race. Beaten 10 lengths, only fair, but I don't think he was disgraceful either.
Going for a spell, I see.
General Grant?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hasn't been a great race for SJ the last 2 years.
No, he had that really well-supported favourite last year, didn't he?
Yeah, broke down. Is that 2002 since the double's been taken? I've just been having a quick look. Lawmaker? Has it been that long?
Oh, King Capel went close to pulling off the treble. The treble. Gondorf, did he not?
No, I don't think he won the Boulder Cup. Have another look at it, but any Texans out there want to get in on 0427.
Actually, King Capel, I reckon Reverend Lovejoy knocked him off in the Boulder Cup.
Yep. Okay, final event of the day, the Neo Medals handicap over the 1400.
Further back by Callaroo and I Am Spartacus. Green and Shady's a day off them. Solarize into the straight first. At the 300, stuck a length and a half clear from Heaton. No run, Market Strike trying to bullock its way clear. Still can't get clear. Now there's a bit of daylight. Down the outside, Powerful runs on. Wine Night threading its way through. Solarize the leader, but Powerful guns it down. It's Powerful. Powerful won the last of the day. Tight goes second and third. Solarize, no charge late and close up.
As you know, Lochie, we discussed this race at length on Unhinged and said it had to be an outsider's result. How you could have Dunbar favourite in that at $3.80 was mind-blowing. And it didn't surprise me, the win of Powerful, because his form up in Broome had been so strong.
Well, who was the man that messaged in earlier this morning? Who was that? Mark from Vic Park.
Yeah.
Powerful to the fore, has been...
Good win too.
Absolutely flying. And I was surprised by not necessarily the win, but the turn of foot that he showed when the gap came at the top of the straight. I thought that was a really stylish win from Powerful, and I didn't think he had that type of win in him. But really good result. Solarize was another horse that was brave on speed, perhaps favoured by the pattern of the day. And I thought No Change was a super run, actually. Going into yesterday's run, I thought that he might be coming to the end of his prep, but yesterday's run ridden colder. He's been on speed his last few starts. I thought that was a terrific effort.
I actually thought he'd lead yesterday's race, but I see in the stewards report, despite being vigorously ridden in the early stages, failed to muster pace. No change, but still a really good effort to finish off the way he did. I like the effort of Wide Night, bombed the start by 3 lengths, drew barrier 3, found itself 16th of 16 in the run and flew home to be beaten only 2 lengths. So that was a really good effort. Green and Shady, I fancied going into the race, found himself a long way back, just doesn't show early speed. And Dunbar had every chance, really, it must be said. Ended up being given a really nice ride by Lucy, lobbed one out and one back, but was gone a long way out. So really, all credit to Powerful, who overcame the pattern of the day to win easily by a length with the top weight. So no bad luck stories for anything else, considering he did it the hard way and got the job done.
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
For me, I think Star Chien will be breaking her maiden very surely and Can't Be Done, the winner of the Ron Saz Sprint. I think he can go on with it and go awfully close in a similar type of grade heading to Ascot in, I'm sure, 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Thought the Harrison pair, Pixie Chicks and Jericho Missile, went really well yesterday. Pixie Chicks I'll be following back at Ascot, and I know Marty knocks the winning record, but I think Helatorian has a win back on top of the ground in Perth sometime soon.
Okay, here's an important one just come through. Impressive Nita Foster mare ASAP, so if anyone can get hold of the team at Impressive, do it straight away. Thanks for coming in here today, boys.
Thank you, Marty.
Leah Ernest to take us through the morning into the afternoon. Thanks to Sophie Stone for all the work and Brad Hardy earlier on today. Have a great day.